Hello, hi, what's up? It's the last day of June, which is alarming. I definitely experienced some June gloom, and that might be metamorphosizing into summertime sadness. Still too early to say, who knows, but I've kind of had, all things considered, a bit of an interesting week. Yesterday, I had a fun day. I went to the Brattle bookshop with my pal, and I was really overwhelmed by all of the options there, and I kept on thinking about what Steve says, which is the Brattle will provide, and unfortunately the Brattle did not provide. I looked through a lot of really interesting books. I took photos of the covers of so many books. There was a lot of war books out there, and I didn't get anything. After that, we went to, there's a new-ish bookstore in Beacon Hill. I'm pretty sure that's called Beacon Hill, right? I don't know. Yeah, it's in Beacon Hill. It's on a lovely street. It's like such a beautiful street. I used to intern there, and I went to the bookstore. We went to the bookstore. We went to the Beacon Hills Books and Cafe bookstore, which I'd seen quite a bit on Instagram. It's very beautiful. It's like a beautiful store. It looks as if your rich aunt had made a bookstore, but the problem is that it's really small. Like if you were to double the space of the bookstore, you would still be a small bookstore, but you would have like a tiny bit more space. And because, I don't know, it was a Saturday yesterday, it was busy up in there, and it's a little bit hard to maneuver, but it is what it is. Also, the bookstore has a cafe. I did not go to the cafe, but I do think when bookstores have a cafe, like that's smart. That's clever business. And I did get 2 books because, well, first of all, let's have some bookish chat. I'm reading Seasons of the Migration to the North right now, which I've heard such positive things about, and I was expecting to be a bit more enamored with the story. It's really short, but I haven't even made it to the halfway point. Like, this is halfway, I still have this much more to go. It's a story within a story. We're looking at the effects of colonialization. We have our narrator, who is this young boy who's just returned from England after having been educated there, to his village in Sudan, and he encounters this like mysterious man, Mustafa, who one day drunkenly reveals that, you know, he knows some English poetry. Like, he also was a bastard child of the West and was educated in England, and he's like finding out his story. And so the story within a story, I don't know if I said that, and I thought that like the story would be more engaging, but literally it's not. It's so interesting because when we're introduced to him, our narrator describes Mustafa as both a beautiful man and a weak man, that his face had both weakness and strength in it, to kind of create this like image of a man who is beautiful but not handsome. And then you find out more about him, and he doesn't seem like a nice person. And in some regards, it's like, did he need to be a nice person? Probably not. Like, has, you know, rage and hatred in him because of colonization, but some of the stuff he does, I'm like, I don't really know what you're up to. And at the same time, like, we've only heard a section of his story. I don't know if we're going to hear more of it, but then also the narrator is meeting other people who knew about Mustafa, and they don't really know what happened to him and like what his fate was. And they're kind of just talking about how he was one of a kind, a talent so unique to them. I think the real like interesting thing here is more so the conversations that we're having about a post-colonial mindset. And there is a quote that I do think is quite important. Oh, this is on page 45. Has not the country become independent? Have we not become free men in our own country? Be sure, though, that they will direct our affairs from afar. This is because they have left behind them people who think as they do. They showed favor to non-entities, and it was such people that occupied the highest positions in the days of the English. Yeah, so there's that. And I'm just kind of, it's so short. I should be further along. I should have finished it, but it's not been gripping me. And when we were at the second bookstore, called Beacon Hills Books and Cafe, I got 2 books because they have like a wall, not a wall, like a section of the wall is Persephone books, not Penelope, which is what I accidentally called them yesterday. And on one hand, it is a bit hard to like suss out what book you want to get, and like it's really hard to read the titles, but I got 2. Okay, also another thing, this is a complaint. This is a full-on proper complaint. The books like don't have the price in US dollars on them, and like anywhere on them, and in the bookstore there's not even like a sign that says like, hey, the Persephone books are like X. You do know from the inside of the flap that this one right here, this is 14 pounds. This one here is 13 pounds. So like using that knowledge, 13 and 14 pounds, and I'm like, okay, how much is that gonna be? How much is 13 and 14 pounds in USD? Like, I know that. And then we got to the cash register, and it was time to pay, and she was like, the machine said $68, and I was like, that's a big markup, no? Like, I don't mean to I mean, I am complaining, like, we recognize that, but I can't even say that I had sticker shock, because there wasn't even no stickers anywhere. I had like cash wrap shock, register shock. I just wasn't expecting 2 books, albeit they seem very nice quality paper, and we know how I feel about a good quality paper, but this one has a dent in it already. Yeah, anyways, so I got these 2 books. I probably will not be purchasing these books from that bookshop again. Like, if I were to do so, I guess on Blackwell's you can get them for a nice price. That's going to be the move moving forward if I enjoy these, because both of these are the idea behind Persephone books. Yes, Persephone books is that they are like long lost books that primarily written by women that deserve a new life. And so I got these 2. Let me tell you what these 2 are. This one's called Guard Your Daughters by Diana Tutton. I got it because I kind of enjoyed the opening. Also, they had really nice bookmarks that they gave. They only give you 1. Other places give you 1 per book. But anyways, the chapter 1, we have, I'm very fond of my new friends, but I do get angry when they tell me how dull my life must have been before I came to London. We were queer, I suppose, and restricted, and we used to fret and grumble, but the one thing our sort of family doesn't suffer from is boredom. I think it seems like it's going to be a fun story. It's about a family, and there's 4 or 5 daughters. This one is Greenery Street by Denis, Mackail. This is a story. This was one of the books that they recommended. They had 4 that they recommended, and this one is about this a married couple, their first year of marriage, and they're living on, as you would have guessed, Greenery Street. And I just think that, you know, as we know, reading about marriage has been on my mind, and I thought this would be a good addition to my marriage reading. And then the second thing that I actually have been interested in this year, I kind of just realized this in the last few weeks, is that I have been obsessed with biographies, especially biographies about women. Like, I think I might do a dedicated video just suggesting women biographies for you to check out. And I think part of that is also that there's a lot of new biographies on the market. There's a Carson McCullers biography, Adina May, who was like a screenwriter, director, she's still kicking. And there's the Isabella Stewart Gardner book that just came out, Chasing Beauty. I really like that concept of chasing beauty, like guiding your life through that principle of advocating for and acquiring beauty, and more than just like physical looks, right? Just having a nice space, being interested in art. Hello, hi. I'm only coming at you like a few minutes, okay, 30 to 40 minutes after whatever I was previously chatting about, because I just remembered something that I wanted to talk about that I was like, I need to do this before I forget. So a couple days ago on Friday, today's Sunday, I went to the Janet Jackson, this is my week. Friday, Janet Jackson, Saturday, Boston, Sunday, New York. So this is gonna be like, I'm gonna call this a New England vlog while being cognizant of the fact that I will be in New York for like half of it. So anyways, Janet Jackson, I got tickets for me and my mother. my mother and I, to see Janet and Nelly at TD Garden. I did not get like the best tickets in the world, so we get there. We actually had such a fun day. We went to May, which is a restaurant in now South Boston that used to be behind BU, Boston University, and they had this dish that I absolutely loved, a scallion pancake, like kind of thicker than that, more like a parotta, in which they would put a poached egg with cheese and like kind of a pesto sauce. I was obsessed with this place. I would go more than once a week, right? Like I had their number saved. I often save phone numbers of the restaurants that I go to, and I would have their number. I think it's still saved on my phone for that location. Anyways, I hadn't been in many years because they had closed during the pandemic, or they became like a restaurant. No, sorry, they were a restaurant. They became a grocery store, and they were in Southie, and I was like, oh, we're gonna go to TD Garden. They're kind of close-ish. Let's go there. They no longer serve the scallion pancake situation. They only do it on the weekends. So instead we had dumplings and just plain old scallion pancakes without the whole 9 yards. Very lovely food. And then after that we walked around Faneuil Hall and whatever. We sat by the water, and then Janet Jackson. Yeah, so we got there kind of early, and it's a good thing that we did, because first of all, when they scanned our tickets, the lady was like, go to guest services, but I didn't listen to her because I was like, why do we need to go to guest services? That sounds scary. And then we went to our seats, and our seats weren't the best, but the usher who was working in our section was like, you know, you can stay in these seats, or you can go to guest services and they'll upgrade you. And naturally we went to guest services, and when we got there, the lady was like, how would you like to sit on the floor? Like, how would you like floor tickets? And we were, honestly, I kind of thought they were pulling the wool over us, pulling our legs. Like, I thought they were just joking. I did not think that was real. But then they gave us tickets for section F. Like, we literally, it was like section A, B, C, D, E, F. So we got really like incredible, massive upgrade. And so many people in our section, I guess, also had the same situation where they were told, you know, we'll upgrade your tickets for free, no cost, nothing. Like, things like that don't really happen to me. Maybe now they'll start to. More things like this will happen. And yeah, so first of all, it was Nelly. And Nelly came on with this other guy, and I was like confused. I thought they were the opening act for Nelly until I turned to my mother and I was like, who are they? And she was like, that's Nelly in the green. So that happened, and I did not realize how many Nelly songs I knew, but I knew a lot of those songs, and that was a lot of fun. He was only really on for 45 minutes, and then after that there was like a 40-minute break while Janet was getting ready, and then Janet came on, and I don't necessarily know a lot of Janet Jackson songs. Like, I really like All Night Don't Stop, and there's another one, If Only? No, that is a song that I listen to, but that's not the one that I really like. All night, and what the fuck is the other song? Whatever, I'll put the names here. So there's only 2 Janet Jackson songs that I go hard for, and then the others I'm like vaguely knowledgeable of. I also really like Someone to Call My Lover. And it was just a lot of fun. Like, I think the first set of songs that she did, she was wearing lots of Tom Brown inspired looks. I need to like double check who did the costumes, but I could tell they would sometimes show shots of the band who were behind sort of like barrier situation, and they were definitely wearing Tom Brown because you could tell because of the stripes. And then she came out, her second set was like this interesting plaid getup that was somewhat giving Jehovah Lovina, but we're getting in and out of focus. Also, I don't know if, I mean, you guys, I have an iPhone 15, and I have noticed, I think I have an iPhone 15 or a 14. The video quality has gone down so much, and I don't know what to do about it. Any suggestions, please let me know. But yeah, so that's also going on. Yeah, so then Janet came on, and it was so much fun. It was lovely. It was also just really great people watching, to see how other people, the crowd was like slightly older, to see them just, I don't know, vibing with the music and having a great time. Like, there was really lovely people watching. And then we went back home, and I actually fell asleep in the car, which I love to do. And yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. There's other like miscellaneous random things I want to chat about that like they come to me, and then I'm like, but I don't necessarily know how much of a monologuing I should be doing when it comes to these things. But I wanted to share the Janet Jackson thing because I thought that was so cool, and it was a great show. And I will see you later. Properly later. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, bye. to chat. Let's see what's going on. Over the weekend on Sunday, I went to mcnallys in Brooklyn, and I just love that bookstore, honestly. Leaps and bounds over, not that we're comparing, but like low-key we kind of are. The bookstore that I went to, the Boston one, the Beacon Hill one, which was cute and charming, but mcnallys is just like next level. The choice, the selection is really unique and exciting, and I think that's what my issue is sometimes when you go into boutique and like Barnes & Noble, is that it's hard to find like a one-of-a-kind book or something that you've not seen before, or something very like international. So at mcnallys, if you haven't been, they organize the books primarily by region. So you have American lit, Middle Eastern, North African, and it goes through the world. And I like wanted to buy so many things, but I did not. I only got 4 things. So I'm gonna like walk you through them. Okay, first of all, this has been on my radar list for a while. Payne Party's work, Sylvia Plath in New York, summer 1953. This is looking at when she was working at that magazine and in New York for 3 weeks. And I don't know, I just thought it would be a fun little read. This is Dreamers. I got this because I really liked If Only and the Septology stuff that I've read. And I was like, I need to read more literature from Norway. So I picked this up. I don't even really know what this is about, but it's something to do with a little village and all the people who are up in there. This book I got mostly because of the cover. It's so psychedelic that I was really just here for the moment. It's a forgotten masterpiece of French symbolism, so we can look forward to some creepy things, or weird things rather. And then this is B as in Beirut. This is a story of 4 different women, like interconnected, kind of looking at their stories, and it deals a lot with the war, so I thought that would be an interesting inclusion. But right now, I'm not in a reading rut per se, but I do want to like discuss something and kind of ask for your help, but most likely by the time this goes up, I would have already made a decision. So there goes that. There's 2 books that I'm reading right now on Libby that I just like kind of randomly chose, one less randomly, but I'm not really enjoying it. The first one is called A World on the Wing. This is a 13-hour audiobook. Well, it's a book, but whatever. This is a 13-hour audiobook about migratory birds. And I picked this up because I was like, you know what? Let's get some general science knowledge and let's learn something about the natural world. And it is interesting, but also not. Like, it's not dry. But I just like don't think I'm knowledgeable enough about birds and the different species to really be with it. Right now, I'm 29% of the way through, and I like don't really necessarily feel like I've learned that much. What I do know is that birds, apparently, the scientists are surprised by how far these migratory birds actually travel. We were unaware of it, but these birds are flying miles and miles upon miles in a way that makes it such that these are feats of just unimaginable power-us. And the author was like comparing it to professional athletes and like what professional athletes are doing, like the top tier professional athletes, versus what these birds do. It's like we can't even compare. We're not even on the same level. And what the science knows is that a lot of these birds, like, they bulk up before they go off onto these trips that happen twice a year, and they're like gaining all this like fat and muscle and making it such that their bodies are almost in a pre-diabetic state. And then they go off onto their journey. By the time that they get to their final destination, they're so like tiny, and absolutely all the fat has been ripped from them. Some of their organs have shrunk and then like come back to life. Like, it's really fascinating, and there's possibilities that kind of, by looking at what the birds are doing, we could then use that knowledge when it comes to human health issues. And there's also discussions about how a lot of these birds are traveling for like weeks, and some of them aren't even stopping, and that their brains are able to, while they're flying, they're able to like turn off half their brain to get some sleep. And it's just really interesting. And then the other thing where I kind of lost the plot a little bit was where we've just finished discussing quantum magnetism, which is kind of looking at how the way that birds are able to travel without a map but know where they're going. And I had a really hard time understanding that. I actually like went back and listened to it again, and I like don't get it. So I think I like want to stop finishing, like not read the book, because I don't know how much more I'm gonna get from it, because yeah, I don't know. And then the other book is Papyrus. I put this on my radar before I was going to Egypt because I wanted to read books about Egypt and the ancient world, and I found this book, and it's kind of billed as a look at books in the ancient world. But right now we're spending a lot of time, and obviously the Library of Alexandria, like that's the main thing, but we're spending a lot of time talking about Alexander, which is like, yeah, that makes sense, that should track, but the chapters are so short. Like I think I'm 25% of the way through in that one, and we've already got to chapter 18. Like what's happening? Like the chapter is literally 2 minutes and then we move on to something else, and it's just a little jarring, so I'm not really enjoying that one necessarily. Yeah, so I think I should like kind of drop both of those, which is kind of annoying because I like wanted, like, you know, I did put some time into reading those books, but whatever. I think I just need to cut my losses. Yeah, I think those are most of the things I wanted to say. So I'll see you guys later. Bye!